All right. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Hey, Josh, what's LSU ranked preseason? Do you know yet?
Where you start and where you end up are two completely different things, Jordan. You should know that from Kansas football.
That's a really long answer to they're not. That's great. Thank you for that. Yeah. So I wouldn't be saying anything except, I got a cold plunge last week and I was putting it together, and Josh has had one for some time, and I was reaching out to him for advice, and most of his advice came in the form of laughing when I've got water spraying out of this damn thing in my basement. So this is not unprovoked, right, Mr.
Okay.
Anderson?
Did you get to use it? Yes or no?
Oh yeah, I've used it. I figured
Did
it
you
all
enjoy
out.
it?
I can't say that I enjoy it. I definitely enjoy when it's over. It's pretty amazing. If you guys don't have one, you should check it out, the cold plunge. And I've got mine set at 50 degrees, which is plenty cold. But let's jump in for the week. First things first, I just want you guys to all know next week is Mega Camp. So we do not have Monday Morning Mojo. So there is no Monday Morning Mojo next week. We will pick up the following week. And then I think the week after that, just correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the week after that is Labor Day. So we're going to be off next week and then we'll be off again that first Monday in September, which is Labor Day. So just letting you know what's up there. Also, we don't really have any training this week, but My Freed Mind is going to be happening on August 25th. And all of you are invited to that. One thing that I just wanted to throw out there is I've had a number of you who have been sharing that with vendors, people who support your business and that you support theirs, and that they've been attending it, because we don't talk about real estate really at all in that course. This is the free version of My Freed Life. And so that's just an idea I wanted to throw out to you all, that if there are vendors or people in your world that you find would get a lot out of that message, to invite them to that. And the links and everything to it, we'll go ahead and post it in the Facebook group again, but it came out in the training calendar that we put out at the beginning of the month. So we'll post that after this so that you have it, but that's August 25th. Also, real quick, just so you all know, we are well on our way as far as My Freed Journey, which is our weekly coaching mastermind. It's all around the principles and the teaching of My Freed Life. You don't have to have taken My Freed Life to get a lot of value out of that. The people that have taken it, some have taken the course and others haven't. It's on Wednesdays at 2 to 3 Central Standard Time. And if you are a client of mine, it is free to you and your teams. So we'll post all the information on that today in the Facebook group with the coupon code that you can use. One thing for operations people or whoever might be signing people up, make sure that you're signing people up individually, not all under the same email address. When you do that, we don't know who's all in the group, and we can't communicate with the other people. So if you're signing up multiple team members, that's fine. Just make sure you're doing it under their names and their email addresses so that we can communicate and you're not the bottleneck to all communication. So as far as training, that's what we've got. And today, I want to make a very special announcement. And I've been sharing with you all for some time that I've been on the hunt for a director of operations. My intention was actually to have someone in the role by June 15th, but when this person raised their hand and said that they would like to potentially take the position, I knew that number one, I was going to hire her, and number two, that it was going to take me longer than what I had expected. But today is the first day of our new director of operations. Her name is Laura Wassinger. Laura, can you take yourself off mute and just introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. I am Laura Wassinger. I am in Wichita, Kansas, and I've been with Keller Williams for right at 18 years. So I started off as director of first impressions, did agent services for a few years, and then the last 10 years I was the MCA. So.
Yep. So she's been in Keller Williams for 18 years, obviously very knowledgeable as far as the company is concerned. And the last 10 as an MCA, 7 in 2008 to 2015, Laura and I were in the same office together. And 3 of those years, I was the team leader and she was the MCA. And so we worked together very closely for 3 years. She's one of my very favorite people. And one of the big reasons that we brought Laura on was to enhance the customer experience for the one-on-one coaching clients, i.e. all of you. And so obviously I'm not always the best at responding quickly to emails, text messages, things of that nature. And so moving forward, we want you all to have Laura's information. And I would encourage you, as far as emails go, to just start CCing her on emails, and she can start answering things a little more quickly than I can. And then if it's something like Mega Camp or just information that you need, but you need it kind of quickly, you can text her. So Laura, will you pop your contact information into the chat box? And I just want you all to think of her as kind of the right-hand person here. Darren is still with me, my cyberbacker. I couldn't do anything without her. So Darren is still part of the team. Darren's email address has changed. And so we will pop that into the chat box as well. But the Darren at myfreelife.com. So that if you have questions for Darren, feel free to send her stuff there. But I'm super pumped, you guys, about having Laura here. And we're going to be creating some really cool things for you guys and finally getting some ideas off the ground. And I'd say make her feel welcome. But Josh, you're going to have to do your best because I know how your default is. So do your best there, buddy. All right. So what I wanted to talk to you today is about some key skills, because as you all know, in a market like the one we're entering today, it is a skill-based market. And so I was thinking about this on Friday. What this market is ultimately going to expose is, are you a realtor or a fake-tor? So realtors are people who I believe are mastering these 10 skills that I'm about to walk you through. And this is a worksheet that you each can download and ultimately score yourself to see kind of where you are in each of these 10 skills. But first, I want to walk you through them. So I think Laura will drop the link into the chat box, and then I'm going to share my screen here so that you guys can see what I'm looking at. We'll also post this in the Facebook group. But this is the 10 skills. So the first one is an ideal competitive mindset. What's that? An ideal competitive mindset is the mindset that you're in when you are at your absolute best. So any professional athlete knows that conditioning your mind is just as, if not more important than conditioning your body. And I want you to think of this kind of like if you have a Tesla, like one of my favorite clients, Don Callahan, has a Tesla. And I rode in this thing one time, and there's this mode that you can switch the Tesla into, and it's called Ludicrous Mode. And Ludicrous Mode is really all about like getting the motor and everything at its absolute top torque. And this thing will go from like 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds. But all of us have had those moments when it feels like everything we do and say is just in this sense of flow. Like you touch everything and it turns to gold. We've also had the exact opposite experience when it's like everything you do and say feels completely wrong. But the ideal competitive mindset answers the question, what is it like when I am at my best? And then the second part of it is, how do I trigger that at will? So professionals don't wait for the ideal competitive mindset to find them. They have a process for conditioning it and a standard that they're going to show up every day in that mode. The second one is a powerful energy plan, Now, The most underutilized energy plan in all of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book is the energy plan. I think it's because it's on page 308 and most people haven't actually read the book. But do you have a plan that is equal parts performance and recovery? Now, you've probably heard me say this, and Jenny Wallach has really run with this, but the W137 is the energy plan that I recommend for people. That's Wellness Wednesday, right? Every Wednesday, taking an hour or two to do something for yourself, 1 day off per week, 1 3-day weekend per month, and 1 7-day holiday every 3 to 4 months. You can take this as far or as short as you want, but do you have an energy plan that you are regularly following? If you're finding yourself getting overwhelmed, as we often do with the idea of the energy plan, then start with just 3 categories: healthy, wealthy, wise. What's the one thing I could do for my health? What's the one thing I could do for my health? And what's the one thing I could do to increase the wisdom in my life? Healthy, wealthy, wise. Next one is a time block schedule. And the thing about a time block schedule, 2 things. One, very few people follow a time block schedule with mastery. They know about it, but they don't live it. And the other thing is time blocking. Gary says you only have to be a master in the morning. Master your mornings. Let the afternoons be a little bit more flexible and fluid. But that's one issue I see, is that you have somebody who's very undisciplined with their time, and then they think they're going to flip this switch, and all of a sudden every minute of every day is time blocked, and it's way too rigid and they can't live up to it. But are you time blocked and nailing the mornings at least 4 out of the 5 work days per week? Number 3 or 4, a systematic lead generation plan. Do you wake up at the beginning of the week knowing exactly who you're going to call, what you're going to say, and what your goals are? Or is it like you just float into the week and it's very entrepreneurial, it's not very intentional, and you're one of those who kind of starts week and ends week? But a systematic lead generation plan, at a minimum, you should know who you're going to call, what you're going to say, and what your goal is that week in lead generation. Number 5, world-class follow-up and lead conversion. This one speaks for itself. It's funny, though, how much of this you would absolutely nail by just being excellent at data entry and data management. We lose hundreds and thousands, maybe millions of dollars to poor data entry and data management. Is every lead getting put into the database? Does every lead have a next call date? Am I meeting my next call dates? Am I updating the notes and resetting the next call date? If you just do those 3 or 4 things consistently, you will win. Strong listing and buyer presentations. So are you someone who can sit down in a tough appointment and convert that person as to why they should use you versus all the other realtors? When the market shifts, so do our value propositions. So does the presentations that we give to people. So have you shifted your buyer presentation? And what I want to see there, I shared this on the mastermind on Friday. I want to see what's called 375. And what that is it's 75% minimum in 3 places. Doesn't matter if we're talking about sellers or buyers, but 75% of the appointments that you hold, sign. So if you held 100 buyer appointments, you would assign 75 of them. 75% that sign, close. So you're getting 75% of those closing. And then 75% of those people that close leave us at least 1 5-star review from closing to 2 weeks post-closing. So 375 is what we're looking for in regards to the measurements and the strength of your presentations, but also how well you're working through the distribution of your product. Market education conversations. So sitting down and having a buyer conversation and a seller conversation. Now, one of the biggest challenges that many of you have with this is that you don't understand the difference between a dialogue and a monologue. A monologue is when somebody asks about the market and then you take a 2 to 3 minute time period throwing up on them everything that you know about the real estate market. A dialogue is when you lead with questions. So if somebody asks me about how's the real estate market, I always say it's really interesting. What have you heard? Because I want to know what they're listening to, who they're listening to, what they're reading. And from there, you can start the conversation in regards to sharing. And if you want to truly nail this, I've said this at the beginning of Shift Proof, the first team meeting of every month, a section of that, Rainmakers, Directors of Operations, should be devoted to the market. We gave you a spreadsheet during Shift Proof. We're happy to post that in the Facebook group today again, but that will show you the key metrics and give you the talking points on the market education conversations. Last few here, high quality questions, objections, and offers. So when you think about scripting, right? Scripting isn't necessarily knowing what to say. It's what questions to ask, how to handle the objections you hear, and then making the proper offers to overcome whatever that objection is. So how well are you from a skill perspective? How good are you at scripting through those three things? Creating 5-star customer experience, we mentioned that earlier, and then maintaining relationships with past clients. We just did the research for this when we were preparing for the presentation that Tony and I did on Thursday. And we've started a company called RE3 Consulting, which is all about building companies through relationships, referrals, and reviews. And the statistic that we found is, first, 43% of home buyers and sellers find their agent through referral. It's the #1 source and has always been the #1 source of leads. The second thing is that 17% of the people who sell their home use the same agent, but 84% said that they would. So you're doing a good job at creating an experience with the customer. They would come back, they would refer you, but you're not maintaining communication with them. And so that leaves the door open for any Tom, Dick, or Harry to walk in and end up taking that client out of your database. So what I would love for you all to do is kind of taking the definitions of what I just shared with you on each of these, go through and measure 0 to 10, 10 being I'm absolutely positively nailing it, 0 being I didn't even know this exists and I suck at it. And score yourself on each one, add it up, and that's your percentage of skill, because there's 10 of them and we're measuring 0 to 10 on each one. But what I don't want you to do is get overwhelmed by this. Once you've done it, I want you to look at those and ask yourself, if I could only improve one of these, which one would I choose that would have the biggest impact on my business? If I could only choose one of these, which one would I choose that would have the biggest impact on my business? So Rainmakers, I would be encouraging you to do this with yourself and your team members. If you're an agent on the team, download this, beat them to the punch and fill it out yourself. But we're heading into a skills-based market, and I want all of you to take your unfair share. So check that out. If you have questions, let me know. We will post that in the Facebook group today, along with the info on My Freed Mind, My Freed Journey, and we will get that spreadsheet for the market education conversations in there as well. Thank you all for being here. Now is the time to break out. Do we have breakout rooms? Can you guys see them? We good? All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. I will see you in person at Mega Camp and back here in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.